Hello folks. I decided to talk about chemtrails. I expect I'll put this up for public before too long. I've had a lot of thoughts about it. I was just listening to a rebroadcast of a Jack Blood interview with a Max Bliss. But there's a lot of information on the internet about the chemtrails. I was aware of something myself around 15 years ago. That was after I'd moved to Iowa. Before that, years before that, we had this additive EBT in Massachusetts in the gas. I could smell that stuff. I knew it was toxic to me. Later on they outlawed that. What's the connection with the chemtrails? Well, it's pretty clear there's something going on. One of the offshoots of it is Morgellons. I believe the government knows it exists because they came out and said it did, and then later the health authority said it didn't. Well, I took them at their word the first time. Morgellons are these strange fibers people get. I haven't seen them directly. It relates to the nanotechnology. Trying to tie this up, what are the reasons for these chemtrails? They put small particles, and some of it is becoming clear in my mind just in the last few days, really. This goes back to Tesla technology, putting fine particles in the air. There's so many reasons that people give, and actually there's more than one reason they're doing it. I'm sure of it. As you speculate into why they're doing it, each reason is more diabolical than the previous one. Perhaps the most benign is for communications. You know, if you do DX, you have an opaque, like a mirror in the atmosphere, to deflect different frequencies. During a big thunderstorm in the Midwest, I could pick up TV stations in the East from Chicago and whatnot. This is the same idea, putting almost like a mirror up for communications. But there's many other reasons they're doing it, I believe. But there's many other reasons they could be doing it. Some of the chemicals involved are heavy metals like barium and aluminum. This is very disquieting, what I just heard today, which was a repeat from the Friday broadcast. Today is Monday, February 10th, 2014. And I'm not reading from anything. I look around sometimes because I'm looking at myself, unfortunately. I never read from anything here. I'm just going from what's in my mind. But what's disquieting is that I hear them talk about strontium and uranium, radioactive elements. These are similar to things getting produced in abundance, unfortunately, from Fukushima. I hate to make the connective logic yet, but it's almost as if you have intentionally another way to put these particles in the atmosphere. They're deleterious. All of these heavy metals are deleterious to nature, to people, to animal life, to plant life, and all. I'm not a biologist. I'm not going to go into this. I'm sitting right now on this relatively brief talk, kind of a groundwork, because some of these new ideas have come to me that I'm putting things together. I did give a brief talk twice on YouNow a year ago on alien technology, ancient technology. This gets kind of complicated, of course. I'll dispense with that for the present discussion. These heavy metals, as Max Bliss just put forth, they can control the food supply. If you control everybody's food, you're going to have really a silver hammer on top of their heads. You're aware, many of you are intelligent people, in the 1930s, perhaps many millions were starved to death in the Ukraine by the communist regime of Russia that had taken over in the revolution. Some of these ideas I'm trying to put together. You know, Roundup Ready, I hear a commercial for it. It makes me sick. These farmers here, the ones who don't live around here, they'll do any darn thing around here, in my opinion, because they'll leave fires going for 2 days. They'll spray like mad. It's not 100 yards from their house, it's from my house. Well, there's a connection with this Roundup Ready, perhaps, and the heavy metals, making crops that only Monsanto can produce, that are resistant to these toxic elements being produced in chemtrails or aerosol spraying. One of the things I heard today, and I've heard it before, it's very disquieting also. They did 50 years ago bacteriological warfare, but testing on people and aerosol spraying. You know, the people that are complicit in governments and science, it's such treachery and such evil. Potentially, how many people can be made ill by this? Another idea I'll just put forth, and I haven't investigated this, is to make like a network where people are so controlled they contribute to computing power, and it gets into the nanotechnology. I'm convinced that there's something towards Morgellons, and I think it's related to nanotechnology on the cutting edge. It's really horrific, some of the things I've heard. Again, life is short. I can't investigate a lot of this, but there's logic to things. And since 1999 I could look up and see chemtrails, and at that time you were supposed to be a tin head, not, you know, the tin head aluminum foil on your head group of people that were nutty if you thought anything about it. All of this kind of stuff is just so disgusting to me, and some of these people, they're just so evil. How many millions of people are going to get cancer from Fukushima and then potentially from these chemtrails and these heavy elements? And tying into this, is it true that they made this winter colder with the aerosol spraying? We didn't need to fight any man-made global warming, but it may be true that they made this a colder winter. Maybe 20 times this winter it's going to be below zero for me, and that's my coldest winter. It's not my snowiest winter, but it's my coldest winter, and this is the furthest south I've lived for any period of time. I always lived further north in different places. And this is getting on towards 9 minutes. I think I'm going to wrap it up. With some trepidation, I think I'm going to put this out there. Most of this is to get you to think, maybe help some people. People have been dying of cancer in southern half of Iowa, perhaps 3 I know in the last year. We can't rule out connection to some of this baloney going on. I think I'm going to stop this here, and I'm going to spend several days at least thinking about how I might want to continue this discussion. But thanks for watching, folks, and good luck.